Are you curious? Well, so are we. Are you funny? Well, we might be too. So why don't you get on in here? There's still some room left. Pull up a chair, open up your ear holes, and get ready. The Empathy and Imagination podcast is here. My name is Aubrey Cloutier.
And I am Drew Clark. I would like to welcome you to the show. I would like to acknowledge you for taking the time to listen to the podcast for Empathy and Imagination. You're all so welcome here. If you want to help this podcast, you can do so in a few ways. You can go on YouTube and just give us a thumbs up. It's pretty easy. Give us a comment. Also, if you'd like to donate financially, you can go to what's that money website called?
Patreon.
Patreon.com/empathy and imagination. And you can donate monetarily there. We have certain goals set in place. And so that's pretty excellent. Now, this podcast is brought to you by Zeiss Digital. Now, Zeiss Digital, have you ever been opening up a new computer and going like, oh man, I'm so excited, I can't wait to use this thing. But then you try to set it up to your network and your printer and your phone and all this, it's just not what you wanted. Call Zeiss Digital at ziced.net. That is ziced.net for all of your technology-based needs. Check them out. Also, this podcast is brought to you by Clark Pool and Spa. If you've got a pool or a hot tub or a fountain or a big aquarium and you need help with that, you go to clarkpoolspa.com. Right now, check out our deals. If you're looking for service, 50% off your first month if you're going to join. Get our monthly program if you're in the Contra Costa County area. Working Blackhawk to Martinez. So, everybody, those are the folks. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast for Empathy and Imagination. Folks, we have a phone number below. 510-859-4173. You can literally call right now and join the show live. We can't stop you. So that's totally possible. Also, if you're listening to this in the past, and you want to give us a call. We have a voicemail set up. So you can just give us a voicemail, and we'll most likely share it with a podcast, unless it's just total nonsense. In which case, we might do that too.
If you're listening to this in the future, please give us a call too. We have lots of questions for you.
We do. Yeah, and if you could answer them, we'd really appreciate it. So, welcome, Aubrey. It's been a couple of weeks. There's been some stuff. Let's high five or something.
High five.
Yeah. Okay. Right on.
Check in.
Yeah.
I'll do a check in.
Check the fuck in.
I had, 2 weeks ago? I had a little bit of food poisoning from some fish and chips, which I think is it's like my poison dish. Fish and chips.
You love it?
It's an indulgence. So usually I go out to dinner once a month.
Wow.
Near the end of the month. Sometimes it's in the middle of the month. As a sort of good job celebration.
A month. That's quite restrictive.
And usually it's fish and chips.
Yeah.
So this time it was fish and chips at Drake's dealership. And something did not sit right. So I had muscle. It was like muscle pain. Almost like I was sleeping in a clenched manner, and you wake up and you feel super sore, like you were just flexing your muscles all night.
You're tired. Yeah.
Weird. It was a weird thing.
Oh yeah, I've had muscle.
So it wasn't so much like it was like joint pain. It wasn't as much stomach pain. It was the weirdest thing.
Huh. Did you shove the both endsies?
I didn't have both endsies.
What'd you have?
Single endsies.
Was it the downward or upward?
Downward slurry of processed
How often
food.
are we talking here?
A few times a day. But it was more like I just felt super tired and fatigued. And like I had, been in a fight or something.
Oh, wow. You were in a fight.
Strange. Yeah, I was fighting whatever fish, the Revenge of the Fish.
luckily you have your gut biome that you have that was able to respond and take
Yeah.
care of that shit. Otherwise, it could have taken over.
That's why I try to get a bigger gut so I can have
Yes,
more
stronger.
biodiversity of
Mhm.
gut bacteria in
Mhm.
there. And yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. Playing a lot of music.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
We
wanna hear about that.
recorded, I recorded with Orville. I recorded amateurly with Sausalito, the
Okay.
easy listening.
like this kind of
band.
setup.
Yeah, just at the OMC studio,
Cool.
Oakland Music Complex
Totally.
studio. And you and I did some recording as well.
Mhm.
I guess we talked about that already, but so that's cool. It feels like, all right, things are finally, pushing the bobsled for a while, and it's finally getting some momentum. So that feels good. And the recording of our yacht rock band actually sounds pretty good.
What's the name of the band?
Sausalito.
Sausalito.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
And everyone's a great player. Yeah, it's just fun, Sax, get some sax in there. I think I could play some, but I'd have to play like 5 seconds of it to not get copyright infringement.
Give it to us.
All right, give me one moment here. Maybe. Oh, I know where it is. Okay, I got it. Although copyright, what is it? Anything that's less than 30 seconds might be. Might be even
I
less
think you
than
have
that,
50
actually.
seconds, but I could. You just meet Mr. Optimism over here.
Yeah.
It
So I'll
could
play.
be-
I'll play a little. I'll play the intro.
Okay, all right. Give it to us.
This is Steely Dan song. Oops, that's not it. One moment, please.
Standing by patiently. Well, it's really cool that you're able to technologize, this, and that we're getting a little taste of it. I do appreciate it. It's super cool. So the cool part about this show is you get the raw, unreleased stuff. If you're into such a thing.
Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah.
You've heard this song.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fun. Super fun to play.
I've seen your picture. Your nickname lights above it.
So you get the idea.
Yeah, that's tight though, man. That's
Does that sound
tight.
pretty good?
Dude, that sounds
It's not even really mixed,
tight.
but it's,
Oh man, that's good.
it's good. So that's been a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Uh,
What else is going on?
what else is going on? I need to do more bicycling.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yep.
But
Why
yeah,
didn't
other
we-
than that, just
why-
doing a lot of work.
Why didn't we bicycle today? What happened?
There just wasn't time.
It's too many things to do.
Too many things. Other than that, just working hard. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's my check-in. Checked in.
Right on. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, yeah. So let's see. 2 weeks ago, I was here, and Aubrey had the shits, and so he didn't come here. So what did I do? I think I worked in the garden. But then last weekend didn't happen because I was at Adam Grell's bachelor party,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a very fun time. There was a lot of beer drinking, just the whole time basically throughout, and it was relaxing. It was very hot sun, but not too hot. We were in the exact center of California, North Fork, California.
Huh.
Very pretty land.
So
It's-
is it like
see-
dry heat?
yeah, but there were lakes.
Yeah.
So it's the foothills leading up to the Sierras. So there's some oaks, some pine, but there's a lot of flat open area too. And they have a 90-acre ranch, and there's a big ass stage there,
Wow.
amphitheater thing with power and a big bonfire. Like they
This
dug
is through Hip Camp
or Airbnb
or something. Yeah.
I can get the number. They have a pits dug 5 feet down into the ground, right in front of the stage.
For fires?
And it's like 8 feet across. And so you just throw like portions of trees in here, and then they catch on fire. They just had to rebuild the stage because it burnt down.
Well, too close.
It burnt down. But the new stage is real nice. They got this huge flat area.
That's
for,
why you
like,
have a
fire
rock.
spinning.
You build up rocks
Mhm.
for the front of the stage.
There you go.
Fireproof.
That sounds cool. You could
I
suggest
just
that.
discovered that rocks are fireproof.
You just discovered. Well, until you get to the center of the earth, and then they become a liquid.
Right.
Right. So yeah, freaking, it was cool, you know, and it was what I wanted. It was really good. Also, later after that, there was like a bunch of stress about my business all at once.
Mm-hmm.
There's like all these things happening. I know that's vague, but it's like we're signing on new clients, which is exciting and awesome. We're doing repairs and stuff, which is difficult and rewarding. And we've done some design stuff. Like I designed and installed a solar pool heater on a client's roof.
Cool.
And we're still paying for it, really. Like, it's not done. Like, they're not happy with it. So it's been so there's no more paying happening. It just I just keep working until
You just have to keep working on it until it's done?
until they
Yep.
like it. So it's
Damn,
like the
that's
money's
tough.
been spent, you know, and I'm just sitting
Right.
and I'm out there in the sun. I'm cutting this. I'm trying to like. They said over the phone like make this because they can see it. There's a bit of it you can see from the ground when you look up.
So it's a cosmetic thing. It's not a
Yes.
function thing.
Right. It's a
Gotcha.
cosmetic thing. And so I'm like, well, I didn't think that would be a problem. you
Yeah,
know?
those are always the toughest jobs because you never know when it's going to be
You
over.
never know when we're going to be done. Yeah. So it's like I was like, well, you know, I want you to be happy I'm on your team. And I also said like, and I was talking with the wife. We were on the roof looking at it. She's like, yeah, I just don't like this. I don't like that. It doesn't look good. There's a leak here. You know, fix leaks. I said to tighten the hose clamp. No big deal.
Mm.
So, because, you know, it's stretched, and, you know, I figured you'd tighten a few of the hose clamps on the rubber after a week. Anyway,
Oh, right, yeah.
so we're up there, and she's like, yeah, you can see this from there. And, you know, I was like, I understand. They just spent a bunch of money redoing the roof. So they look up and see, like, pipes. They're like, So I get that, I guess. I wouldn't. I think pipes are cool, but whatever.
Pipes are cool.
Pipes are cool. So your microphone's messing with you. So I go up there and I make a change that seemed strange, but I thought that's what he was asking for. He's like, turn it upward because there's one that's like a U, and so you can look up and you can see like pipes coming out and then going back. It just because you ran out of room, you know. I'm like, yeah, we don't like that. I'm like, well, okay, but I could take one of the panels off and then it would work. And they're like, well, how much would we lose? I'm like, well, you lose 15% of your heating power, and you already bought the panel, and there's no returning it. So, and they're like, yeah, okay, maybe let's think about it. And I'm like,
What do they have, 7 panels?
6.
6.
I was gonna do 8, but it turned out you can't put them perpendicular, so it didn't work. And the lady came to me and she was like, you know, I didn't exactly appreciate that. You know, we were told we were getting one kind of panel, and then when the day came, you just bought whatever they had. And I was like, whoa. I hear that. I would be upset if I thought that was true too. That's not what happened. I told
Okay.
the truth. I was like, what happened was when I went before, after I did all the measurements of your pool and roof, I took it there and I spoke to an employee, and they told me mostly wrong information. Mostly.
Mm.
Like, this guy led me the fuck astray. Like, big time. And so I went to them and told them a number. But when I came on the day to buy it, they're like, oh, yeah, these don't go together. What your cost is $1,000 more than that. Just for the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was going to cost us. I mean, like, we were like, what the fuck?
Sucks.
So we call the client the day of, and we're like, yeah, so we're here, and they say it's way more now. And they're like, what? I'm like, the guy led me astray. I wrote all the numbers down. They're the wrong numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, well, we still want it, so it's go ahead. So we went to do it, and the panels didn't fit. There was 2 that didn't fit, so I could only sell them 6. I returned 2, and
Yeah.
then I look into the packages, and they've given me the wrong. They're supposed to get a cap and an air release, and they gave me 2 air releases and no cap. So I have to go back.
So it was
again.
the store, the distributor that just
It was
fucked you.
left hook, right hook, jab, 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 right hook.
Do they
And I'm
w- not want
what the
repeat business?
fuck? I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
And so the guy manager was like, "We're gonna give you a discount on your next purchase." And I was like, "All right."
It's so shitty. Because it's like I still have to do business
And I'm
with you, but I get a
still
discount.
on this fucking roof
Right.
doing all this stuff. And the lady, I was like, I way underbid. I was like, this is costing me way more than I bid for. And she's like, yeah, I know. Anyway,
And
when
you're
you do
just-
it again, can you do it over here like this? And it's like,
So you're just eating costs.
I'm eating time. I'm just
Yeah,
her. I just do what they want until. So that's a weird part of business.
It's got to be like a
ownership.
design component to your quoting.
Yeah, I need to quote way higher. / I'm not going to do it. Honestly, most roofs are way more pitched than that. It's way more dangerous.
Yeah.
And there's so much aesthetic worry that I'm like,
Exactly.
no. I'm just
Yeah.
really not going to do it. I'll install
say,
3 pumps.
I'll install it to a functional level based on your first idea for it.
Mhm.
And if you want cosmetic changes or cosmetic differences, I'm gonna bill you for that time, and there's only so many of those iterations I'm gonna
That's an
do.
interesting idea. Like 3 maximum, and each would cost this much.
But that's what a graphic designer would do. A smart graphic designer would say, "Okay, we'll have I'll give you like 5 versions of the logo, and then we have, let's say, 3 or 4 iterations, and that package is $5,000 or whatever."
Mhm.
So you limit the amount of times that they can just keep saying, "No, it's not right." You got to keep doing it. You say, "Well, we agreed on 3 revisions."
That's your
So if
fourth
you
and
want to keep
final.
going, we got to do more
Would you
money.
have some like extreme clause where it's like, if we get to the 4th revision, then I get $10,000?
You could, because that would incentivize them to know what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, it's like I definitely need to take some of the blame in this solar panel roof heating system because, like, it's my first time ever, but they knew that. I was like, I've never done it. I could do it.
Did you best you could.
It worked.
If you had
great.
reliable information,
Like,
I
I
think
turned
you
it
would
on.
have done much better.
It worked perfectly the first time. There's no leaks, nothing.
Nice.
It was sick. And it took like 12 hours on the roof, and I charged them for 3.
Damn, dude.
So it's like, whoa. So but that comes with I work when I want to,
Right.
right? So I don't want to be a whiner. And this has been coming up in my check-in. Is that me?
I don't know. Oh,
There, yeah. I don't want to be a whiner, and I want to be careful not to complain because there's a lot.
Yeah.
The outrage culture is loose. It's loose. And so
Yeah.
I want to do my part to not be outraged. But I still want to be true to my emotional self. And so that's like, how do I harmonize those things?
Right. You don't want to be suppressing every emotion and
No.
never express anger
Right,
or
you've got to have
fear. or whatever.
blowouts. If you're
Yeah.
suppressing, you have to have blowouts.
Yeah.
I've definitely suppressed more as a younger person and less as an older person, I think.
Oh, that's good.
So, but everyone does, because you got to get through your day,
Yeah.
But so we'll just add that my phone died. You folks will notice at home that we got one camera angle today, and that's because my phone died. It's like it didn't die; it was operating great, but the charger wouldn't go in.
Mm. I look at the situation with your phone dying as basically an upgrade.
Right, because now you get to upgrade.
I mean, even one shot, one switcher, I feel like that's better. It's a step in the right direction. Whatever we learn from this current setup is gonna make it's an upgrade.
I hear that.
We just leveled
Mhm.
up, even though we have
Mhm.
broken equipment
At the moment.
and less cameras.
Yeah.
We actually leveled up.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. It's still working.
Golden age.
You know?
Cool, man. Well, that's unfortunate with the free working for free.
That is unfortunate, but it's
But sometimes you got to do the pro bono work to keep the customers happy
Mhm.
if you're starting out.
yeah. You basically have to. So now I took on too many jobs in May and the first part of June.
Mm.
I took on too many, because I was signing on new clients, dealing with other things, doing the normal route, which is growing all the time, and that's good, and dealing with the pairs, and then dealing with the free work all the time. And I was like going,
Yeah.
so kind of freaked out. Got pretty upset. I was like angry and afraid and stuff. And then I went to, my sinuses have been really bothering me. I've been using Afrin like every day for a week.
Afrin?
Yeah, which opens the nasal passages, and of course cannabis does too. But it's a pricey commodity in
Right.
this world. So, but we have medical coverage. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go in and see like what can we do about the nose. Is there any new data? Because what I heard last was like pretty bleak. And I went to the doctor, and I told him I broke my nose. I was like, the quick story is, so when I was a kid, I was playing baseball. I got smashed in the face, deviated septum. Then I was a flight attendant for a decade. So
Oh, you got a deviated septum because of an accident.
yeah.
I have one, but I was just naturally.
Huh. There you go. Lucky for us.
Yeah. Deviance.
Yeah. I guess don't get smashed in the face with a baseball. I was like always afraid of that, and then like totally happened. So
Ah.
I didn't play baseball that much after that. I played like one more game, and then I was like, nah, I'm good. But flight attendant, dry space, lots of people's boogers getting in your eyeballs, and then you get sick a lot. And then I have polyps now, so I've done a CT scan years ago, and there's like polyps pushing on my bones and my sinuses. It's all jamming up the breathing. Like it's very little air is going in my nose. When you sleep, you try to sleep with your, So I noticed myself feeling short of breath, and then worrying that there was like something wrong with me. So and then I got into this cycle about like fear of death, not making enough money. I can't work. I can't possibly work anymore, and all this sort of like.
I'm 35.
Yeah.
My body's just nosediving now.
Right, so I'm
It's-
like getting all this, and I started feeling really upset. I went to the doctor, and the doctor was a very smart and funny lady, and she was very helpful. She was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry that doctor scared you away from surgery. Let's go get a new CT scan and see what the ENT has to say now." I'm like, "Okay." With the insurance we have, it's not like $25. I was like, "All right." So we're gonna do that, and then just do some blood work, and just see how it's going.
So a new CT scan to see what the EDS said, and you said okay, and paid $2.5 USD.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. That's actually accurate.
And what is the result of that?
Well, we don't. The
Oh, you
CT
haven't
scan
gotten
is
back
supposed to happen Monday.
Ah,
Mhm.
okay. And what does CT mean?
Well, it's a.
It's like the CAT scan?
Yeah, it's like cartographic imagery, magnetic something something. So they look at my brain and sinuses and layers, and match them up to make a picture.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That puts you in a weird mindset to see
Yeah.
your innards and the sections of your brain and shit.
It is, and I'll get to look at that. And it's like it was good because the doctor was like, you really don't need to worry about the family history fears you're worried about. She's like, I think your nose is blocking you and it's freaking you out.
Family, like diabetes.
Yeah, like
Well, you're active,
yeah.
virile male, so you're probably okay.
I'm closer to okay than people who wouldn't be. But I really don't know. I haven't had blood drawn in a long time.
Yeah.
But since it's in the family history, it was on my mind, and I'm sharing on my check-in here. I went to a dark
Yeah.
place,
Good.
but I'm feeling better.
Good.
The
That usually happens when you go to a dark
yeah,
place.
you go to a
Come on.
dark place. I'm feeling better. The doctor was like, "Yeah, you should be. You're fine." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And she was like, "You do pools? I'm looking at this place that has this fountain pool thing.
There you
Can
go.
you work on that?" I'm like, "Here's my card."
There you go.
So like, I was like, right then it turned around. And I was like, "Oh, it's going well. Okay."
A doctor works with the plumbing of the human body.
Right.
I work with plumbing and what do they call them? Water features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. So
Good.
Let
well,
me let me end my check-in
yeah.
there with a ding.
it's good to go checked in.
I feel better.
It's good to go to the dark place.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have
Mhm.
to go there. I think you have to. You have to go dark sometimes and come back out.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the darkness isn't fully out yet too when you come out. But it comes back but less, or comes back but less, or something like that. Like there's this wisdom. It's
You come
interesting.
out of the darkness and there's still little tendrils attached
tendrils.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'll deal with you later.
So, like, on a very brief side note, people are probably wondering what we're drinking right here.
Yeah,
Just
why don't
wanna
you tell them
mention
what
that.
we're drinking?
So, this here is Gradient Brewery's Citra Pale Ale. This is the director's cut, I like to call it. So, I just this morning kegged 5 delicious gallons of 5.5% Citra Pale Ale. Completely made here, all grain, on the Robo Brew Generation 2. And this is the very first sample, so it's not carbonated, it's not chilled. We're just sipping on literally the still beer as it would be from thousands of years ago.
All right. 'Cause they didn't carbonate it.
And they didn't
When did
chill it.
carbonation come around?
Well,
When
as
did that
soon as-
become a thing?
As soon as they were closing it in bottles. The first time you put a cork or a clay bottle that you could get a little bit of pressure in there, they were carbonating it. So that was like 4,000 years ago, probably. Probably. Can you imagine like pulling that out of the river as like a cave person 4,000 years, a human person 4,000 years ago, and it's opening a cold beer and drinking it?
What is probably sealed with like
Wax,
wax? Yeah.
like deer earwax.
Yeah.
or something.
Some kind of wax.
Okay, so
exactly.
how does this taste to you? What do you think? Because you're the person
I like
who
it.
didn't make it.
It's lighter than your normal, your usual
It is. I like the lightness.
things. I can sort of see what it would feel like to be carbonated.
Uh-huh.
I could see what it would feel like to be carbonated.
Can you smell what it would hear like?
I can hear what it would touch like to be carbonated. No, it reminds me of the Drake's 1500. I think I said that,
Mm-hmm.
which is a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it tastes good, man.
Right on.
This is from a kit. Did you modify the kit?
A little. Very little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do when you modify a kit?
Well,
Is there
for
like usually one thing that you change, or do
yeah,
you just sort
there's
of
a regular thing, and then there's other things. Like a regular thing I often change is like I put the priming sugar in the boil for that extra little kick of the
Is that a-
ABV.
how does that differ from the usual
People would
way you would do it?
Well, a kit, people wouldn't do that. They wouldn't put it in the priming. They wouldn't put it in the boil. They would put it in the bottles they were bottling, and I think it would be mostly left as sugar instead of alcohol.
Oh, I see. So you're putting the sugar in earlier on in the
to
process.
Make it more, so it's because I'm not bottling it, I'm kegging it. So that's like a common theme I'll change. But also too, like I'll split off a few gallons and put a different yeast in it. That's like a pretty common thing that I've done.
What does that do?
It lets you compare two identical beers with just different yeast, and you can go, "Whoa, that's way different," just from the yeast being different. Yeast is very important, and it's like hail to the mushroom gods for creating this fine beverage.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Gradient.
Gradient.
Might need a little more.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. Yeah. All right, man. Are we ready to jump into?
Let's jump into
topics?
this. Topics today: old cassettes. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
I have some old cassettes here.
This
I have
is
a whole
incredible.
box of
Here,
cassettes.
let's-
Some background here.
Let me get you. Go ahead. Give me
It's
some
one of the
this.
things I've been, you sort of have keepsakes. So when you move from place to place, you sort of keep certain things. And things that I've been keeping is just a box of old cassettes. And I brought 3 of them here today. And maybe I'll let you choose what we listen to first.
You have a cassette player for us, and we're plugged in live so people can hear
Plugged
it right
in.
now.
Almost plugged in. Let me get us plugged in here.
How lucky are we? How lucky are we? Cool, dude.
See if we do this. There we go.
Put your earbuds. There you go.
So let's do.
Ouch. Yeah. It's all right. Everything's fine.
There is nothing wrong with your radio. There is nothing wrong with your television set. This is the way empathy and imagination sounds when it's coming to you live from outer space. Okay. So maybe we'll do this one first.
Was that was interesting? There wasn't anything on there? Or
That was just the radio.
oh,
I just was trying to
you got me, man.
improvising. Rewind this. Yeah, wow, this is a noisy little thing.
Is that the sound? Can you record that sound?
Yeah,
Here.
it's recording on the podcast.
Hello. 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 Testing. 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 Here we go. That was a slow and gentle rewind.
Well, there is no rewind. There's only fast forward.
So to just flip it around.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I appreciate that.
So these are a few tapes I have.
What are the options? What are they called? Yeah, can I?
Yeah, you want to take a look?
Yeah.
And the one I have in here is Creepy Woods.
All right, let's check. Let's check this out.
Album.
Okay. Creepy Woods Live. We've got Creepy Woods Live. It's written very clearly. It's a TDK, IECI Type I normal position, high precision cassette mechanism. Wow, that's very specific. Same thing. It's a D60. Okay.
Not getting any.
Creepy Woods Live.
Not getting any
No sound?
sound here.
Well, let's pull the speaker out, or the thing out, see if it's just a...
Oh wait, sorry.
Oh. Scared me. Oh, and then we have, it looks like a combo here. Sky Park. Creepy Woods. Oh, so this is probably the split. Creepy Woods, 10/3/1995. And we've got... Holy...
Why is that so loud?
Well, I think it's because we got some primitive tech going on here, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, this is like the actual 8-track of it. Holy shit. Yeah, this is slowed down. It's unlistenable.
Is there any buttons you can... Tuning? Look, tuning. Does that do anything?
Oh, maybe the cassette player is fucked up. It doesn't play at the right speed.
Doesn't sound that bad.
Wow, that's fucking weird. Let me see if one of those other tapes plays.
Let's try this one, Sky Park.
It could be that the motor is just fucked.
Is it like a 220 volt or something? Like, what do we got to do?
Yeah, the motor in the cassette player is not playing the right speed.
There's nothing we can do?
Damn.
Wait, what's... Oh, is it possible that the batteries are messing with it or something?
Yeah, we didn't. I should have tested it, but
Well, this is what you get. You
I
get
figured it
live.
would be okay.
Well, is it missing any of the instruments? It could be that these are original tracks.
No, because Sky Park never. Yeah, no. Damn it.
Well, do you want to try?
Let's try one of yours just
Well, here,
to be
why
sure.
don't you look at both and see which one you want to do? Because I have more somewhere, but there's these two anyway.
Side A. Yeah, the motor's not. The motor's too low.
It's possible that
Sure.
if we keep it on, it may eventually speed up. Like if you just leave it on. You try the other side. Or? I don't know. I'm intrigued. Maybe that was the track. Yeah, I think I called it with the whole like fast forward sounding pretty rough. Man.
There's got to be something somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something. Wow, that's pretty brutal. Okay, well, what do you think of it, Aubrey? Let's leave it on for a while. Just like a low level. Yeah. There we go.
All right.
So, what's
It's a fun idea.
this?
I do want to do this again with a working cassette player. It'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. Revisit these.
Okay, then this is a teaser.
This is a teaser.
Yeah.
We have cassettes just lubed up and waiting.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Sounds like it stopped. All right. You got a topic? Do you want to refill? Maybe you can
Yeah.
introduce us to our topic.
Okay, yeah, I would, please and thank you. All right, well, let's get into it, guys. Can't, get to this. So, it's sad. About Anthony Bourdain. You know, it's like when I think about this, famous person, you know, why do we all care so much about famous people? But it's interesting because it sort of feels like they're in your life, but at a distance. And I've never been a huge Anthony Bourdain like fan. I've seen some of his shows and the stuff I've seen I liked. I don't know exactly what he was doing now. I'm sure it was cool. I remember seeing a picture of him and Serge Tankian and The Q on YouTube about them doing something, and that sounded cool. But I think it's weird that someone would kill themselves at 61. And I said that to my wife earlier, and she was like, no, I mean, because it's like a struggle, and some days it's harder than others, and then one day you just, it's too much. So yeah, Anthony Bourdain kills himself at 61. And death, as in life, Anthony Bourdain brought us closer together. On his award-winning series Parts Unknown, Bourdain brought the world to CNN viewers. Through the simple act of sharing meals, he showcased both the extraordinary diversity of cultures and cuisines yet how much we all have in common. Tragically, he proved this again on Friday. Bourdain's death shook television viewers around the world. The most common sentiment: I feel like I've lost a friend. Here's a little picture of him, looking like a hipster, kind of very, very thin, with his tattoos, pretty good shape, drinking a beer. It says real beer there on the side. That's cool. Appreciate that. So, and then you look on this little sidebar here. This is asking for help. The suicide rate in the United States has seen sharp increases in recent years. Studies have shown that the risk of suicide declines sharply when people call the national hotline, which is 1-800-273-TALK. There's also crisis for support in Spanish, 888-628-9454. So they say Bourdain was a larger-than-life figure, a gifted chef, a storyteller who used his books and
Oh, did he
shows
commit
to explore
suicide?
culture at 61.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So my topic is Anthony Bourdain commits suicide at 61. And I was just saying, like,
Top of your game, right?
it's you. I mean, you've just finished your prime, really. I guess
He
I
sort
guess.
of, but he sort of got famous, like
later in life,
later,
like his 30s
on.
or 40s,
yeah,
right?
40s or something.
Yeah,
But he had already made a name for himself as a
chef.
Chef.
Right? Yeah. So he's funny. He drinks
wow. He
beer.
fucking killed himself.
Yeah, he killed himself.
God damn.
It's like rich, doing a show. Apparently, huge fans. Lots of people love him. He's like, can't take it. That's a weird one.
Did he give a reason, or did he just?
So far,
So
I
far.
don't know if that's been really
Wow.
gone through. Bourdain was a larger-than-life figure, a gifted chef and storyteller who used his books and shows to explore culture, cuisine, and the human condition. Tony was a symphony, his friend and fellow chef Andrew Zimmerman said Friday. The news of Bourdain's death was met with profound sadness, with CNN, where Parts Unknown was aired for the past 5 years. In an email to employees, the network president Jeff Zucker remembered him as an exceptional talent. Tony will be greatly missed, not only for his work, but also for the passion with which he did it, Zucker wrote. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's weird. They're showing, I've shown a few pictures here. It's a little dark, but his camera's a little fancy. And here he is, doing stuff.
Wow.
And yeah, I guess it hit me sort of strangely. Like, man, there's just obviously there's death everywhere, and people die all the time for different reasons, and I don't know. But it seems it struck me that 61 would be a weird age to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the why? Maybe he was diagnosed with
Colder.
something.
I don't
I
know
don't know.
about that.
I
It
don't
tastes
know.
better colder. That's nice. So
It sucks though.
that brought me to this, which was a Peter Joseph tweet. He says, while the death of Bourdain is sad, the big picture is worse. Suicide is a public health crisis challenging our most basic ontological existential sensitivities. Society itself is priming this behavior due to a general lack of meaning found in how it works. In the Center for Disease Control, suicide rates have climbed dramatically. So this is what I got into this. I'm going to bring it up so folks at home can see it. Yeah. So here's a color. Here's, you can see this here. And for their listeners, I'm sorry, but there's like two kind of gridish maps of the United States. And they're showing suicide rate 2014 to 2016 per 100,000. And then they're showing a different one of percent change 1999 to 2016. So if you're looking around in 99 to 2016, you can see kind of there's a lot of countries in this sort of lighter orange. Of course, darker orange was high. It was got up to 60% per 100,000, like in Vermont and New Hampshire and North Dakota. Like,
Wow.
what? That's crazy. But that's from 1999 to 2016. But yeah, 2014 to 2016, you can see stuff like
Guess I'm not moving to Vermont.
Utah. Yeah,
That was the increase. So Vermont got more suicidal, 60% more.
percent change. It said, yeah.
Wow.
Suicide rates have increased in nearly every state over the past 2 decades, and half of the states have been suicide rates have seen suicide rates go up more than 30%. Suicide is a major public health issue,
Wow.
accounting for nearly 45,000 deaths in 2016 alone. This is why the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta decided to take a comprehensive look at suicides from 1999 to 2016. Suicide in this country really is a problem that is impacted by so many factors. It's not just a mental health concern, says Deborah Stone, a behavioral scientist at the CDC and lead author of the new study. There are many different circumstances and factors that contribute to suicide. And so that's one of the things that this study really shows us. It points to the need for a comprehensive approach to prevention. She and her colleagues collected data on suicides from every state. In addition, to better understand the circumstances surrounding suicide, they turned to more detailed information collected by 27 states on suicides that occurred in 2015. The rise in suicide rates was the highest in the central northern region of the U.S., with North Dakota, for example, seeing a 57.6% increase since 1999. Nevada was the only state that saw no increase, Burning Man, and Delaware saw the smallest increase, which was 5.9%. The findings were published in the CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report. Wait a minute. Pause. Who the fuck subscribes to that? Okay, CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report.
Weekly.
Weekly?
There's a lot of morbidity and mortality going on
Oh
every
my
week. We need to
God.
stay up to date.
Do you want to sign up for the Morbidity and Mortality Weekly? Here's how to do it. Like, where do they advertise
I'll sign up
that?
when I'm dead.
They advertise that like late night.
Yeah, right. It's like a mortician with
Yeah.
a red phone, like laying down. Like, call us now.
Don't you want to know who
died and
1-900?
why? 1-900 morbidity. Call now.
But I think we do need more attention on death in our society. I think we treat old people like trash before they're dead a lot of the times.
Well, they say also that the most expensive time of your life is the last part, because you're on life support and
All the meds.
drugs and meds and life support. And
This
it's rough.
this thing goes on. It says, often the suicide seems to happen without warning. 54% of the people who killed themselves didn't have a previously known mental health issue. Instead, these folks were suffering from other issues such as relationship problems, substance misuse, physical health problems, job or financial problems, and recent crisis or things that were coming up in their lives that we were anticipating, says Stone. Researchers and advocacy groups who work to prevent suicide say the report shows that much more needs to be done to tackle this growing problem. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the saddest one is the relationships one.
Yeah. Why?
People just killing themselves because the girl doesn't like them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly men that are committing suicide, right?
Yeah.
That just sucks, Hormones are going out of control because it's probably mostly
Young men.
young people that are committing suicide over
Mostly
relationships.
young men, yeah.
Self-inflicted crime of passion. It's like you're actually crazy when you're
In love?
when you're in love, when you're in that explosive zone of hormones. I sort of think like you might actually be clinically insane because the hormones are fucking with you
Mm-hmm.
so hard.
We've all gone crazy.
No
for
pun intended.
ladies. Fucking with you. Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah, that's fucking rough, man. Kate Spade recently committed suicide
Who's
too.
that?
a designer, just shoes and handbags and fashion
She killed
fashion
herself.
icon. Yeah, I think she
Where-
was 50-ish.
50-ish.
Something.
So is she a
She
Gen?
struggled with
Gen Y,
depression.
Gen X, Gen.
Maybe it's I guess Gen X. Yeah, maybe.
Isn't it weird?
More like Sting's generation.
So
maybe not.
Gen B?
Born in the. I guess
I'm
Gen
trying-
X
what-
is
I'm trying to
like
figure out what
70.
generation. 70.
1970 to.
Born.
on.
Yeah, yeah. So you're Gen X.
So she's a little bit behind Gen X.
That's weird.
She's
that we're
probably born
at
in the
Z now.
60s.
Okay, 60s.
Z, right? Yeah. Should
So
have
the-
started at A. What the fuck happened? Why did we start at X? Should have started at A.
Yeah, we're already at Z now. That was a short burst.
Yeah.
The CDC report cites several different approaches, such as working to stabilize housing and teaching coping and problem-solving skills early in life. The report also cites the need to reduce access to lethal means, but without especially discussing firearms or controversial issues such as gun control legislation. Asked whether that was a deliberate omission because of the political climate surrounding gun control, Stone said that suicide rates have been increasing across all methods.
Hmm.
So it's not just about firearms, it's also about our methods of suicide, such as hanging, suffocation, poisoning, and the like. She said, "We are concerned with all aspects of suicide prevention, including access to lethal means, and so we do include that that a comprehensive approach to suicide prevention." Mm-hmm. But, here's interesting, but Anestis believes that it's important to not beat around the bush when it comes to guns, and to talk about the importance of things like setting waiting periods for purchase and storing guns locked and unloaded.
Hmm.
Okay, quote, "American suicide is predominantly a firearm issue. Anytime we want to resolve something that involves firearms, we need to talk about firearms explicitly," end quote. He says.
This is who is this? Peter Joseph or
No.
no? Okay.
What was it? Anestis?
Okay, just some
Yeah.
person that works for the CDC.
The conversation about firearms and suicide doesn't have to be a debate about the Second Amendment. It could be a debate about where we can find some common ground that doesn't simply involve only talking about people with mental illness. Because in this paper shows that it's not going to get the job done. Research shows that the decision to attempt suicide is often made quickly in an impulsive way, says Robert Giba, the head of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Interesting. Well, I mean, yeah, dang, that's like a whole thing.
I mean, Robin Williams. Once you start going down that path of who else committed suicide? It's fucking dark. It's pretty dark.
What do you think about the quest for the living to try to stop people suiciding? What is about? Why,
I think
why do we have that?
I think you should be free to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we in the living have this obsession with trying to stop people from killing themselves? Like, it's none of our business.
I don't know. Do we think life is so
That's
great?
like it's illegal to kill yourself. Like, that's silly.
Yeah. I guess in Christianity, it's a sin to self-terminate.
True that. But if you're doing the strangle
And it's probably
masturbation
for a reason.
movements, it evens out.
It evens out, yeah. Do the David Carradine move, it evens out. And, it probably is because it's just advantageous for the species if there are more living people. I mean, it's probably that basic. When you go back to the cave times, were people trying to commit suicide? I mean, do you think?
I would say rarely.
Running off cliffs?
I bet, yeah. To get away from tigers and shit, yeah.
No, I mean like willingly, not to escape something, not being pursued,
Like starving and they jump off a cliff,
or they're
something.
just bummed out and they run off a cliff. Or
No,
try
I
to
don't
smash
thi-
their own
no,
head with
I
a
don't
rock
think-
or something.
I think they weren't bummed out because they were too busy trying to stay alive. These guys aren't busy trying to stay alive.
So maybe suicide is a symptom of the indulgent society.
Okay, I think that's what we're getting at here. Weird. See, but then I feel guilty, like we're gonna offend people, like families of people who've killed themselves. Like that's
It's
not
sad,
an
I mean.
indulgence, right? You know what I mean? I don't want to.
It's sad. It's a sad thing. I don't want anyone to kill themselves.
I don't want it
But-
either. But why do we care?
But I could see myself in a situation where I would want to be able to kill myself, and I wouldn't want anyone to stop me. So I can't be that fucking sanctimonious about it.
Yeah.
I think you should have the right to.
I mean,
There should also be support systems, and maybe it should be as hard as possible to try to
like
kill yourself.
options.
Yeah,
That would be cool
options.
options. And I think like psychedelics ought to be one of the options. Like,
There's an
before
idea.
you can kill yourself, you have to take an acid trip or something.
Or if you're suicidal and you have $8,000 in the bank, take a trip. Go
yeah, just
spend
go.
all the money,
Yeah, fuck it.
or whatever. Go to Mexico, get some drugs and whores, and
Yeah,
live it up.
accompaniments.
I don't know.
And, yeah,
You
do
know,
your
just
thing. See how
do
that
something
goes.
crazy. Maybe you'll be like, well, you know what? It's actually the world is a little more wider than I thought.
Maybe I'll make $8,000 again and do this again in a couple years.
Now I'm broke. Fuck. Now I really.
Yeah. It's like even people gasp for breath even who try to kill themselves in hot tubs. You know,
That's true.
it's like I've heard. I don't know if this is true or if it matters, but I've heard that women attempt suicide more than men do, but they are way less successful at it.
Hmm.
Which is weird. Like,
That is weird.
what? How does that?
I don't
add
even know
on?
how I feel about that.
See, but then because then that's like okay, how
It's hard to know what
That's I wonder how you feel about it. I'm like curious.
Well, I want more women in the world
Yeah,
because I think women are great.
human flourishment. you
So
know.
that sucks. That them killing themselves is, I feel, is bad
Mhm.
because we need more of them, and they're great.
moms and daughters and
And-
sisters and aunts and
But it's also sad that you failed to kill yourself, and so now you're just existing, and you hate life. I mean, that also. So each one is. I don't want people to be living and hating life. So it's like I'm completely ambivalent. I can advocate both sides.
yeah. So how would that affect a policy of suicide at the Center for Empathy and Imagination?
I think it would have to be some kind of mega support
Like if someone was
scenario.
so like how would you know? Because they're saying a huge percentage of these people are like they weren't. No one
Oh,
thought.
looks
that,
like
Oh,
we had someone trying
Hi,
to call.
This is Claire.
Oh.
I'm not available.
Okay, right.
okay. I can see like so. How do you tell? Because a lot of these examples are like they had no previous signs of showing like they were suicidal, and all of a sudden there was this big event that happened, and it seemed really important. So what do you do about that at the Center for Empathy and Imagination? I wonder what would be cool to do there.
I don't know. Like, what would you do?
Maybe there's some kind of like weekly check-in, like a clearing we used to do at Cafe Gratitude,
Okay,
And
like
then-
a
and then you-
rehab-ish type.
or not rehab, but like just like a clearing, like where you'd go once a week with another person in the group. You go, hey, so the first question is, what is missing in your life? And then you answer honestly, and then the person doesn't respond to it. They just repeat back what they heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, what are you looking forward to? And then same thing, or then you go and then you acknowledge the person, or you could repeat back, something good. You say, hey, I think that's cool you're doing that, and that's great. Or like, yeah, I hear you're going on a boat trip to Jamaica,
Right.
and it's gonna go well. Whatever. You don't have to be just a
Doesn't have
compliment.
to be that.
Yeah, that's how I would shift the clearing.
Right. Right.
Hello.
I like that.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, who's this?
This is Claire.
Claire.
I got a
Welcome.
text from Aubrey. Oh, thanks. Welcome. I got a text from Aubrey that said, "Call in. We're talking about suicide."
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah, we need you to talk us out of it. No,
Yeah.
we just.
Nope.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
Anthony
no,
Bourdain
don't
had
do it.
committed suicide.
Yeah, we're not going to do it. Did you hear
Yeah,
that?
don't do it.
Did you hear
It's
that
better.
Anthony Bourdain has committed suicide?
Yeah, and Kate Spade all in the same week.
So who was
Yeah,
Kate
and
Spade for all our listeners?
She is a designer. She's like very well known for her handbags. They were like, she was a big designer in the 90s, and it's like she's probably in fashion circles. She's very well known. Actually, I feel like if you're a female, she's probably more known than Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes
So,
sense.
yeah, they're kind of in this. It's funny. They're like became popular in the same time period, and they're around the same age. So
We were trying to figure out what generation. They're not really Gen X. They're more like generation, like Sting's generation, right? Born in the late
Are they
50s.
baby boomers?
no, I think they're early because you and I, Aubrey, are late Gen X. Like we're like very late Gen X. But
Okay.
I don't know. I think the whole generation thing is kind of bullshit.
It's
But,
imperfect.
Yeah,
it's
it's
imperfect, but I do think it is helpful.
It's like
It's helpful,
it's
but
like
I mean-
genres on a book. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, there is
yeah,
something
Anthony
to.
Bourdain might be a late baby boomer,
boomers.
and Kate Spade might be an early Gen X.
Okay.
So,
Do you
I
know
would say
anything
that.
about the backstory about Anthony Bourdain? If there's any, do you know any? Because I couldn't find anything about a why.
I mean, hopefully, like, he has his own private life. I know, like, his girlfriend is one of the people that Harvey Weinstein attacked. And, like, so she's been having a rough year.
That's
and
morbid.
He's been supporting her.
Hmm.
He had, like, a past with drugs. Like, he started out, I think, cooking in Provincetown down the Cape in Massachusetts.
That's right.
Is that where
And
he
was
started?
on
Kitchen
heroin.
Confidential, I think, was his
Oh.
breakout
Yeah.
book.
But, like,
It's awesome.
yeah, his breakout. But he was, like, when he was a kid, when he was, like, a teenager, he, like, worked at, like, an oyster shack in Cape Cod and got into heroin. So he's had, like, problems with drugs in the past. And I think he's been clean for a long time. But you never know.
I wonder if he smoked weed.
Brain is a mysterious.
Maybe he should have
organ.
smoked weed if
Yeah.
he didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. Can do a lot to calm a person and to be introspective. I mean, I don't know if introspection is the cure for suicide. I wouldn't say that. But I definitely find community, needs meeting, communication, and introspection, alone time plus hard work, all add up to stuff that's better than not.
Yeah, I actually saw a really great documentary last night. I saw on Mr. Rogers, and I think
Fred Rogers.
his philosophy on life was, or his like reason for making his show was to improve mental health in like children, so that when they grow up, they'll be healthier adults. And I think so. I think introspection is important, but it depends on like what your thoughts are. Because you could be introspective, but having really negative thoughts about your life, or
I can
telling
think of
yourself
somebody-
like these horrible, negative stories, but things are not going to get better. And
Yeah, I can think of some
You
people
know,
I
like,
know
just
that I know
things
that
that are
their
untrue.
internal story is like pretty negative. When they go alone, it goes dark.
Yeah. yeah, I don't know. I showed Aubrey this. There's Dan Savage, who does Savage Love. He made a thing a couple years ago for LGBT youth, and it's called It Gets Better. And it's interviewing people who should have short videos about how, at different points in their life, they were suicidal, they felt alone, and how they got out of it, and how now they're adults and their life is so much better. And it was I thought it was a really great reminder that, like, sometimes you're in like there's a negative loop going on in your brain, but you just to remind yourself, like, this is how I'm feeling right now, but I'm not going to be feeling this way in the future. This is just right now. It's going to pass. Like, things will get better. So I don't know.
This too shall pass.
Mm.
Yeah.
King Solomon's ring, right? Which is it's comforting in times of distress. This too shall pass. But then when you're at the highest, when you're at your peak and you're rich, you must also think this too shall
Yeah.
pass.
Right.
It's a great equalizer of the highs and lows. And it's always the rich people that were like, well, they're rich, so why do they commit suicide?
Yeah, that's really
But
often. Like
it's-
Michael Jackson, too.
Maybe that's why, because the fame and the riches are just empty,
But I mean,
empty at the end
I
of the
don't.
day.
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, who's like mega rich and super famous, he was saying, like he really believes the key to happiness is like money just won't make you happy. It's really human connection, and there's no
Amen.
money that can.
Yeah.
I mean, money can take stresses out of your life and make your life a little less stressful. But I mean, you could be rich and just alone and not really feel like you have a purpose.
You could be the
I
last
mean, I
person
think-
on Earth, and you could invent money. You can be
Yeah.
the last person on Earth and have tons of money, but you can't invent people.
Yeah, like who knows what pain, like, it's like we're all, we're all connected, we're all the same, but yet we're all different at the same time. And it's like, who knows what's going on through their heads. And I mean, obviously, like, he was in a lot of pain.
It
And,
seems so.
yeah. So, I mean, I just think it's very sad.
Yeah.
Have you known anybody
I
that
mean-
you've lost to suicide?
Yes, I do. There, I mean, not close. It was a girl in my school. So, yeah, she had a tough life, and yeah, she committed suicide in high school. So,
Yeah. Two people from my high school did as well. Donald Allen and Angus. I forget his last name.
In high school?
No, this was shortly after. It's like I was in college and I heard the news. Angus MacDonald and Donald Allen,
Hmm.
who I sort of knew. I hung out with Angus a few times.
Hmm.
well, you guys, when you're down, do you guys have any like thoughts that like those like? Do you have anything like things that make you down, and then do you have like thoughts or stories or things you tell yourself that make you feel better?
Yeah. Realizing the sort of transience of life can get you pumped up sometimes.
Yeah.
If it's all for nothing, then why be afraid of anything? It's a little more complicated than that, I think, because I think at the end of the day, there is something that we think we have, and that is our reputation. And so it's hard to just totally torpedo your own reputation.
Hmm.
I
But-
wish suicide didn't affect your reputation, because like I don't think any less of like anyone that commits suicide. I just am like, oh wow, like I'm just kind of like, oh darn, like
Sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
heard.
wish they
Agreed.
stuck around and things got
Yeah.
better.
It's
you
not
know?
a-
Yeah.
It's not like
It's
a
not a
moral,
judgment.
moral failing.
I was saying earlier, yeah, it's like it's not exactly my business because it's their body. Yet we all
Yeah.
care as a group when people do this.
Mhm.
And again, I think it's because of evolution. We're like, wow, one of the tribes self-terminated. That's totally opposite of like what we were inclined to do, which is to create more of us.
Ooh, I wonder when the first suicide was. If you think back, what was the first suicide over? What do you think?
Is there one in the Bible?
I mean, pre-Bible, because
I
we
mean,
have
Jesus.
clay pots from
Right.
6,000 years before that.
Jesus chose to.
That's a
to-
pretty
to end
early
his life.
suicide. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. But
He could have run, but he didn't.
you know, I
Or
haven't.
Socrates.
Okay, okay.
Not so much suicide though. He's acquiescing to the rules.
To be killed.
Yeah.
Oh.
The first suicide. I don't know.
I'm thinking like, okay, what I'm picturing is like really hairy people hunched over in a cave somewhere, and like someone didn't kick the poop pile, and now the fire went out, and then it's starting to rain, and just they're like, fuck, all these kids tugging on my hair on my legs and back that's really long, and they're just like, fucking out of here, and he jumps off the cliff. Like, I don't know, is that
Or mental illness. I mean, it must have existed back in Neolithic days, right?
well, it had to have. Probably was more rampant.
You think it was more rampant?
Yeah, there's probably
okay.
less instance of it now because it's in the chain, and it's definitely here,
It's interesting.
but not everyone has it. So I mean, I don't know, maybe it's going the other way. It's hard to say.
It is.
I think it could go either way because, I mean, if, your life was simpler and you were just focused on survival and you had, people in your life helping you survive because everybody needed each other, maybe you were mentally healthier because you're more living in the now.
You've less time to
You were-
worry about introspective bullshit.
That's kind of
Yeah,
my joke. My joke was like, I doubt that happened. I actually think that the constant pressure to stay alive would keep someone distracted from wondering if they should kill themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Totally.
I think that
There wouldn't
we
be
now
enough
have
time. Yeah, there wouldn't be enough time to even worry about that question.
Yeah, you're too busy trying to stay alive. So it's like, and then that goes on and on and on, and then it gets really opulent. You don't really think about it, and then people are really, really detached. Like if you live in a high rise in San Francisco, you're making $430,000 a year as a developer, and you just all your food is ordered in. You have Wi-Fi. Someone designed your apartment for you. Like, you don't cook. Someone cleans your house. You don't have a yard. There's no living plants. Like,
Sounds horrible.
You're basically living on a cloud of money that
Right.
keeps you away, so that you can just develop, and then you can play video games and masturbate and then sleep, and that's
Yeah,
a
we're
lot of
more
people's lives.
isolated now than ever.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The public space has gone. It went from outdoors to indoors in the sort of 80s and 90s with malls. So instead of the outdoor park, you had the indoor shopping center, and now the public space is like social media. Still a golden age though, so buck up, campers. Chin
Okay.
up.
All right. Well, how does the golden age tie into a spike in suicide in the U.S.?
It's a mindset problem.
Okay, go on.
If we encourage more positive mindsets, do you think suicide would go down? Or
I
encourage people to say, hey, that was the past, and it happened insofar that it's in your memory, but it doesn't dictate who you are now, and it doesn't dictate who you can be. So let's let go of the shackles of the past and do some self-improvement. Do you think suicide would go down or up if that was like a meme? If that was like a public
Direction.
thing, something that was taught in schools?
Mhm. I think it would go down. I think it would obviously go down. I think if the power we give to government, money, if we gave that power to a system that would measure the needs of the people and then use science to meet the needs of those people in the most efficient way, then I think suicide would nearly stop. I think it would still exist
And we need lots of men and women interacting
all the time.
All
At
the time.
many ages.
at many
Young,
ages.
old, medium old, yeah.
You don't want youngsters who can't play.
Uh-huh.
You don't want teenagers who can't, kiss a girl or kiss a guy.
Right.
You want to maximize all those probabilities.
It's true. I think we do
More
need
options,
more
like you were saying.
practice of people together, and age mixing I think is important. Like you go to high school and everybody's your age or 1 year older and fuck
Right.
them, But it's hyper ageified.
Yes.
But I think if where we put old people could stay at the same place of where we put young people, and they were to work together as a school nursing home, something.
There is that connection. It's always grandparents and parents and grandparents with grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
It's always you always hear that some child related more to their grandparent than they did to their parent.
Uh-huh. I've heard that. Yeah.
So maybe that's a way to do it. You build that into the caretaking. Go ahead.
No, I agree that, like, I think, if we focus on community, I think we've lost community. And communities were, like, in the past, multi-generational. And I know in my life, like, my work is multi-generational, and I love that. So I think it's like if we focus on community where we all, like, appreciate each other and need each other, like, accept the fact that humans need other people, and, kind of get over the fact that, we might disagree about certain things. I think, in general, mental health, people will be mentally healthier because you're needed. You're,
Yeah.
To be needed.
To be needed, to have a purpose is pretty important.
Yeah, there's this story I heard. So I watched the Mr. Rogers documentary, and this made me cry. But he told a story. He didn't tell us about it in the movie, but I had heard about it in, like, an address he gave. But it was about the Special Olympics. It was, like, a couple years ago in Seattle. And there's a race, and it was all kids that all had physical or mental disabilities. And they all were in a race together. There's 9 of them. They started running, and one of the kids tripped and fell and started crying. And the 8 other runners all stopped, turned around, went to the kid. A girl with Down syndrome, like, kissed his knee and was like, that'll make it better. And then they all walked hand in hand to the finish line. So they all, like, finished together.
Yeah, they
And
got
I
the
thought,
point.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the whole story. I mean, it's just kind of like, I feel like that's what life is. It's like we focus so much nowadays, if you watch TV or social media, on kind of winning for yourself. But really, like, what life is really about is, like, helping other people and helping other people win. And I don't know if that's part of the golden age, but I hope that's the way it goes.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
It seems like the perfect life would be to be super selfish and, let's say get rich, right? You're super selfish and you get rich. Then the mega phase is you just start giving all that shit away, and because your creature comforts are set up, you just start to try to improve the world with the resources that you have. That seems like a good trajectory. Like
Yes.
Elon Musk is sort of doing that.
Right. He's a good
Scott
example.
Adams is doing that.
Even potentially the Virgin guy.
Virgin guy, yes.
Yeah. Well, I like where this empathy and imagination is going. I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, Aubrey told me, she said, call in. We're talking about suicide. I don't know why.
Well,
I'm no expert on it. So
we always
okay,
like to
call
hear
in.
from you, and we appreciate your time.
All righty. Well, I
Thanks.
will let you guys get back to your podcast and topic.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
calling in.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
All right.
A little bit cut off there.
There we go. So,
So how about a little bit of science?
okay.
How about
All
some
right.
science updates? We got all this bad
Okay,
news.
yeah.
Let's something's good's got to be going on in science. Oh, SpaceX wants to build a campus in Florida to support rocket launches. Possible signs of life found on Mars by NASA's Curiosity rover. Did you hear about that?
Possible signs of
They,
life?
they might have found like microbial
Really?
things.
Might have? What's the maybe? They got to be sure.
NASA shuffling their feet. I don't know. Oh, thanks. Organic matter discovered? Question mark.
What? We need to follow up on this.
It could be some just microbes, but still, that's huge. It could mean that. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
It could mean that there's microbes on other planets too. Or it could be that like life, maybe a chunk, something with water and shit on it, hit Mars, broke off, but then more of it hit Earth. So Mars got a little bit of life, but nothing to make
But we got
consciousness
all this
and shit. But we got the real
Yeah,
soup.
life. That's crazy. Okay, I like Science Update so far. I'm really into it.
NASA extends Juno Jupiter mission until July 2021. So Juno is the satellite that's orbiting Jupiter
Okay.
right now.
Mhm.
And I guess they're extending its operational mission to 2021. After which point it'll just do a nosedive into
Really?
the atmosphere. Yeah.
Why don't they just keep it up forever and keep fucking taking pictures?
I think they have a reason why, like an ethical reason. They don't want to be leaving trash out floating around Jupiter.
They'll
They'd
leave
rather
trash on
destroy it
Jupiter.
than have
Well,
trash.
okay,
floating.
so it'll burn up. Yeah.
It's kind of a weak argument. It's like space litter. Scientists find new solar systems with planets the same size as ours.
Ooh.
Did you hear about the climate change CO2 harvesters?
No.
I saw this on Twitter somewhere. Just this giant rack of fans that is, they're testing it, they're just sucking CO2 out of the atmosphere.
On airplanes?
And
stuff?
thereby, no, it's just like a ground-based thing on a piece of land.
They're
A
just
huge grid
sucking
of fans to suck the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere to combat climate change.
Really?
Yeah, using technology to basically reverse the effects.
Do they put it in like a specific area where like there is a bunch or something?
Let me see if I can find the actual article. One moment, please.
Standing by. You know, as we stand by, let's think about Clark Pool and Spa.
Sucking. Yeah, go ahead.
If you need pool or spa service and you're in the Contra Costa County, go to clarkpoolspa.com. That's clarkpoolspa.com. Email us at info@clarkpoolspa.com. Okay. Here we go. Thank you.
You read that caption.
Hey, Scott Adams.
Oh no, the caption beneath the fan thing.
Sucking carbon dioxide from air is cheaper than scientists thought. So they actually built it.
Yeah.
Holy shite burgers. That's huge.
Let's see what the article says.
Yeah, would you read some of that to us? That'd be cool.
Estimated cost of geoengineering technology to fight climate change has plunged since a 2011 analysis. Siphoning carbon dioxide from the atmosphere could be more than an expensive last-ditch strategy for averting climate catastrophe. An economic analysis suggests that geoengineering technology is inching closer to commercial viability. A company's running a CO2 extraction plant. The cost of pulling a ton of CO2 from the atmosphere ranges between $94 and $232.
Where do they put it?
They're in Canada.
What if they fill like tanks?
Here we go. Carbon Engineering's design blows air through towers that contain a solution of potassium hydroxide, which reacts with CO2 to form potassium carbonate. The result, after further processing, is a calcium carbonate pellet that can be heated to release the CO2. That CO2 could then be pressurized, put into a pipeline, and disposed of underground. But the company is planning instead to use the gas to make synthetic low-carbon fuels.
They're going to burn it back into the air after they caught it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Low carbon fuels.
Whoa.
That's fucked, man. That's a company that's based on a chemical equation right there.
Wow.
Keith says that the company can produce these at a cost of about $1 per liter. When they configure.
Could you
such
burn
and
it in
such
a car? I mean,
$94
what's
per
the...
ton. CO2 pellets.
If you
Anytime
compress
you would
the-
need CO2, I guess
Well, if you...
you could burn it and capture the
How do
gas from it.
Yeah, how do they turn into a fuel? What fuel for what? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
I mean, do you burn like a generator? Is it a propane generator? Do they have like a series of copper tubing, or do they, is it like they just
Sounds like it's just
drop a lighter in a bucket and blows
like regular car fuel.
car fuel?
Assuming that CO2 is burned to offset vehicles' emissions, the price of $100 per ton would add 22 cents to the price of a liter of fuel. So it's sort of talking about everyday car fuel.
Making everyday car fuel with the
By sucking
CO2?
CO2 out of the atmosphere.
Wow. Okay.
And
okay.
using
I
hydrogen,
just-
whatever that was called, that chemical.
What if you've got your RV, right? But this thing hangs off the top of it. Or maybe, yes, and behind the exhaust pipe. So what you're doing is you can set it up, and then it creates liquid fuel for you to burn in a backup situation.
Right.
From anywhere with just one of if you took one of those boxes and like put it on a thing.
It'd have to be a big RV.
Yeah.
Urban farm.
Yeah, trailer. Urban farm trailer, solar powered RV. With all the shit, man. Okay.
You're like
so
a Hummer towing a trailer.
yeah, like a 20-foot, 9-foot wide trailer.
Cool. Well, it's 4 p.m.
Well, maybe we should call this a freaking successful episode of the podcast for Empathy and Imagination. We have any sounds out, like sounds good outros?
I think I
You might have
played
something.
something. There's. Nice. This show is brought to you by ClarkPoolSpa.com, Zeiss Digital, Zeiss.net, and ClaireO'ConnorArt.com. 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 Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
You can support the show if you're still listening. You can support the show. You're here with me. You're here when everyone else has gone away. Now, come on in close. We're just going to zoom in here. Way too close. So, seriously, dudes, we have never gotten a single supporter at all, ever. And that's just totally surprising. So, if you're still listening at this point, consider that we're bringing value to you. If that's true, you can engage with us in positive ways. You know how to reach us. Thank you.